we've come today to have a look at the constructions going on the community centre. Some of the trustees and management committee of the Leeholme and Coundon Community Centre have come to see what we're doing here on site, to see how progress is going. We've seen one of the glulam beams go in today, so it's a really exciting point to see sort of a vertical element of that structure coming up. We'll be building it as it was originally built as the Leasingthorne Miners Welfare Hall and Community Centre. So we've been working with the community group since the start of the project, really, from the moment that we identified that this was the community centre that we wanted to replicate. We've been in touch with them since then. We had a conversation with one of the trustees, the chair of that, and we had to reassure them that we didn't want to take away their building, that we wanted to replicate it, really, because, well, if you have a look at it, it's absolutely beautiful. Those arches that you can see when you walk in the hall, it's got a wonderful atmosphere. There's lots of space that the museum can use to welcome visitors and community groups to use it here at the museum. Through Remaking Beamish, we wanted to get a regional spread of buildings, and this one, it comes with an amazing story. So it was actually paid for by the miners at Leasingthorne pit, so it enables us to take that mining story into the 1950s as well, so that you can experience the museum through different sort of cross-site themes, so from the gin pit to now the community centre and the coal heap, and so it was the right choice for the museum.
I think it's fantastic that it's been replicated here in Beamish, and it's sort of given it a new lease of life back in Leeholme as well, and obviously all the groups have been involved with helping the replication and giving the information over, so I think that's a really good thing.
I think it's going to be lovely for everyone in the villages to come here to see their hall being replicated. I think it'd be very interesting for the children to see that.
Yeah, very
definitely, because the children in Leeholme well use the hall, and it'd be lovely to come here and see it.
Well, the community centre, as we know, was built by Leasingthorne Miners, and its original name was Leasingthorne Miners Welfare Hall, and they built it by having deductions from their wages at £1 a week, which was, they obviously felt like they needed something like that. It was during the time when community centres were expanding, you know, and every group of people had their own community centre. And it's sort of all the things that have happened to us since we took over the hall. The council were going to close the hall if it was one of these asset transfers. And if the community didn't take it over and run it and fund it, then it would have closed. So all of the things that have happened since we've all worked together and taken that hall have been positive. And this is one of the, you'd have to edit that out. This is one of the best things that it just culminated in all of this, yeah.
It's really good.
We worked with people across the northeast to select buildings for the Remaking Beamish project. What we wanted with the community centre was a building that's sort of aesthetically interesting, that's the right size, and that had an active community already working with it, really, so that we had a group to engage with and work with on the project together. It's very much a partnership. And what we want to see with this community centre is it being used by the community of Beamish, if you like, so people bringing in groups and activities to run in the centre. But over the next few years we'll focus on using this space as a place to engage with the project and the community, so we can tell people what we're doing on site. You'll be able to access the community centre through a separate entrance without having to come through the main site, and that gives us a really good space to tell visitors about the exciting project we're working on here. The community centre is mainly a timber structure, so glulam uses spruce because it needs to be bent. And so you can see this frame, the curve at the bottom is created by sticking together several layers of spruce. So it's a very efficient material, gives you a lot of strength. And this is how it was done in the 50s as well. We're replicating the techniques as far as possible. And then the rest of the frame is a sort of simpler timber frame. And we've just sort of clad that again in timber before we go into the building to complete the fit out. Originally we'd looked at starting on this side of the site and working our way across really from the buildings closest to the existing town, but for various reasons we don't want to complete the cinema first, and the terrace will take a bit longer to do. The community centre, being a quick building to get completed, is an excellent space to really engage with visitors about the project.
Remaking Beamish is about an £80 million project, and it's really thanks to national lottery players that we've received £10.9 million from the Heritage Lottery Fund, and this is enabling the development of the museum. So Remaking Beamish will see an expansion of our Georgian area to look at telling a more complete story of everyday life in the North East, and within that there's a coaching inn that people will be able to visit and find out about the postal system, about communication and travel in the 1820s, and it'll also be somewhere that people can eat, drink and stay overnight. So it's quite an exciting development for the museum. We also have Joe the Quilters, which will be opening later this year. And then the 1950s, we're building a 1950s town and farm, and it enables the museum to move more back into living memory. And when that happens, it's an exciting opportunity for generations of families and visitors to share memories and stories together in spaces that are familiar to them. So the 1950s town incorporates the community centre that you can see going up behind me. We have shops incorporating the Bishop's Close street that Norman Cornish lived in, house that Norman Cornish lived in. So we have housing, leisure facilities, a bowling pavilion, a cinema that we're moving from Ryop. So there's a huge variety of things that people will see when they visit the museum.